Hello crafties, welcome to another video. My name is Infiniti and today I am here with a knitting tutorial. Can you believe it? It's been a good long while since I've posted some knitting, and I know I have been neglecting my crafties who are starting out their knitting adventure, so here we go. Last time we left off, I was teaching knitting in the round. So this time I'm going to show you guys how to purl, because if you noticed, if you started knitting in the round, you started getting these stitches that look like this. And you adore that look. And that is the look that most knitters like go into knitting, and they think they're going to know how to do it when they are doing their standard knit stitch, but no. So I'll be showing you guys how to essentially go from the knit stitch or the garter stitch to purling, and this stitch is actually called the stockinette stitch, and it is a combination of purling and knitting. So you know, purling is pretty important. And without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and get started teaching you guys how to purl. Alright guys, so purling is really kind of easy. It can be confusing at first, but I promise in the end it'll be super easy. So what I want to do, I have a swatch going here. I'm sampling out a skein of yarn, and so I'm on the front of my project, so I need to do a row of knit stitches first. I'm just gonna go ahead and do that. Now if you're brand spanking new to knitting, go ahead and check out my video on how to do the knit stitch back on my channel. I'll probably put my knitting tutorials in a handy little playlist so you all can find them with ease. Alright. Force of habit, I tend to scrunch up my stitches when I'm knitting. That's just a me thing. So first of all, when I change rows and I go into purling, what I like to do is do a couple of knit stitches first so I don't have too much curling. Obviously I'm having some on this swatch, but that's something that developed later on. I'm just going to knit 2, 1, and 2. Okay, so I'm looking at the back of my yarn. Now on the back, down here, you can see where we did the knit stitch and also the purl stitch. They look pretty similar, honestly, and what can I say? But they work up very differently. So now that I'm on the back of my knitting, I'm on the right side to do my purl stitch. So what you're going to want to do, and I can zoom in for you guys, what you're going to want to do is have your working yarn in the front of you, in the front of your stitches. And you are going to insert your working needle into these stitches on your non-working needle. And what we're going to do is just take our working yarn and wrap it around our working needle and gently sliding it back and pulling the loop up through the front and sliding off that old stitch. Let's do that again. So what I'm going to do is have my working yarn hang towards the front of me. I'm going to insert my working needle, going from front, in from the front of the stitch. On my non-working needle, I'm going to take my working yarn, wrap it around my needle, my working needle, and I'm going to pull it back and gently pull up a stitch and pull that old stitch off my needle. So if you turn it around, you can see where these stitches start to actually look like pearls, but on the back side it doesn't look very different. So I'm going to do that again and again, and I'll do it on camera so you guys can kind of watch and get the gist of it. I do want to give a tip or two on actually the tension. If you learned how to crochet first, your tension with purling, you can't really tension the yarn around your fingers the way you normally would. So you end up kind of doing all these funky things as you see me doing, because I'm still used to crocheting or just doing the standard garter stitch, and I like to hold my yarn the way I hold my yarn. So you have to figure out what works best for you. You don't want it too tight, but you want it just tight enough so your loop doesn't slip off of your knitting needles as you're purling. And it can be a relatively slow process when you're first starting out, but don't worry, you'll pick up that speed in no time. Or maybe not. Either way, it's a craft that's meant to be therapeutic, so don't worry yourself. And we are almost there. My last purl. Alright. And now I'm going to move my working yarn back to the back of my needles, and I'm just going to knit two. And you have successfully done your very first row of purls. Congratulations. So crafties, primarily if you just work your purl stitches, they won't look very different from your standard garter stitch. I mean, they might look a little messier because they're a little more difficult to do, but you won't get this effect right off. And I know a lot of beginner knitters really start knitting because they want this look. So in the next knitting tutorial, I'll show you how to do this stitch combination, or you can try to, figure it out on your own. Either way, happy making. Thank you for making it to the end of this video. If you enjoyed this video, let me know in the comments down below. Give me a thumbs up. Let me know how I did. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button, ring the little notification bell. It helps my channel remain being seen, as well as the likes or thumbs up or thumbs down if you didn't like it, whatever, Go ahead, check out my other social media. I post regularly, especially on Instagram. I post on Twitter, Pinterest, Facebook, probably somewhere else. Don't forget to check out the Ravelry shop. I have a few patterns up for sale, a few for free. Just check it out, see what you like. Add me, I don't mind. Also check out my coffee page, which is my digital tip jar. It helps me to continue to make the content that you guys love to see. And until next time, guys, happy making.